Okay. All right, mic is working, and we are not dropping as many frames as we used to, so let's say that's positive. Okay, I think we're good. We will go ahead and challenge Vlad. Two games. 10+5. Rapid. Alright, so we're playing black, game 1. We're gonna go for a Sicilian, and we'll see what happens here. Alright, so he goes open Sicilian. If I have him booked up correctly, we go for the Sicilian 4 knights. Let's see what Vlad has cooked up for us here. Hope I am not dropping. Oh, he does go for it. He goes for the G3 line. So we go bishop b4. Main line here is bishop g2, castles, trades on c3. Or, oh, it's not the main line, that's the main setup I use. We'll see what Vlad comes up with. If I remember my theory correctly, this is not such a great move because after takes back I have bishop a6. All right, the live feed looks kind of decent, and we are rolling. Let's see how Vlad responds here. The correct response is bishop to g2. Okay, so he plays bishop g2, and we have our chat configured. So then we just castle here. All right. We are prepped castles, and the move is takes on c3. Takes on c3 and queen a5. So the main idea here for black is to push d5. I analyzed this position a lot on Saturday. Bishop to d2. Yeah, I think that's main line. There was a refutation for c4. He can't play c4 because I think there's a refutation. Oh gosh. Okay, so d5 I think is the correct move. Well, at least we have Vlad thinking a bit here. Okay, bitrate seems okay. Alright. So this move You play e takes. And c4 doesn't work because queen b6. Okay, so c4, he plays c4 anyway. Queen b6 hits the knight. If he takes d5, we take d4. Bishop e3. Oh, man. Is the move... Wait, is the move this? Queen c5? And if bishop c3, I play takes here. And if here, here, here... Queen c5. I can take with the knight. I think this seems to be the best move. All right. All right, he's got a decision to make. Does he play bishop e3? Oh, bishop to e3 is annoying. Takes. I take with the pawn. Takes. Takes with pawn. Bishop e3. Queen c6. And then I play bishop f5. Not entirely sure what the correct move is here. Do I take with the knight? If I take with the knight, that looks quite appealing. Okay. So what's the idea here? Rook c1? Is that an idea trying to play for c4? But because my queen's where it is, I don't think that that's such a overpowered idea. And we are dropping bitrate. But the match is still here. Alright, so he goes for it. Gotta be really careful here. Oh, I have knight b6. So queen c4, rook c1, queen a2, rook c6, knight b6. Rook b6, pawn b6. Bishop a8, queen a8. I just take it? What's another move here? Queen c1, I trade the queens. Queen a2, rook c6, knight b6. And then I play rook b8. Okay, so now what for Vlad? I probably play this next. Rook moves, takes g2 and queen d5. Okay, so I guess this covers against queen d5 in the future. And it hits the rook. Rook e8. Queen to g4. Oh, this is actually dangerous. Oh gosh, did I just hang rook b6? Oh, no. Rook b6. He missed it. But I still lose the exchange. Ah. That was kind of a disappointing sequence. What about the move Queen A1? Queen A1, Rook A1. Yeah. I have to take? I play Bishop. Takes. Rook A8, Knight C8. This could get very dangerous. This could get very dangerous in a hurry. Rook C7. Yeah, Rook C7. Okay. The decision to make is, do we just jettison the pawn? But playing this seems so risky. Yeah, A5. Not great. So is there a silver lining here? No, there's not. Obviously you move the knight. Here's the possibility. Here's a possibility. C8 seems horrendous. If here, I could potentially have a route back. Here I'd arguably have a faster route back. Ah, but he goes rook b5. Oh, he just goes rook b5. And then the threat is rook a4. And if I go rook b5, a4, he plays rook b4. Our bit rate seems to be decent. Okay. Do I play h5? Because then rook b5, g6, rook a4, knight d6, takes a5, takes a5, takes a5, knight f5, and knight h6. That might be actually okay. h5. What if rook a4 first? If rook a4 first, knight d6. Okay, so rook b5, g6. He goes there. Knight d6. And maybe, oddly, putting the knight on h6 is best here. Knight f5. And g4 gets met by takes, 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 and potentially this. This is going to be both a difficult ending to win and a difficult ending to hold. So, just a difficult ending, period. Again, you don't want to do that. I'd be very unfortunate for Vlad after playing such a nice game. He's thinking here, can he go rook f5? He does. So obviously we take. King to g6. King e5. King g6, king e5. f6, king e6. King g7. So this here is king g6 drawn? So king e5, f6, king e6, king g7. Oh, he takes here. f4, gf4. Oh, we don't have any time. f4, I guess. King takes on f4, king f6. G takes f4. Here, here. Oh, f5. All right, that's GG's. That was hard fought. I missed that rook takes f5 was winning, but that was a really good play from Vlad. Let's see if we can surprise him with a little something here. He goes d6. Okay. g6. I don't recall studying this move. A4? A6, probably bishop c4. He could go knight e5. Okay, so where does this bishop go? If it goes here, he has this. And I takes. And probably something like bishop e3. If this, then I go to d3. c4, bishop e2. But that's not really worrisome because I'll have a5 coming. Again, here. I feel as if Vlad knows this better than I do. Wonder if Jirachi is. Where are you, Jirachi? Where are you, Jirachi? What's a move? What's a move? I'm not super familiar with these structures. I'm leaning towards the idea of bishop f4. And then playing maybe rook b1. I don't have a ton of ideas. Alright, let's see if we can figure out a way to take this Vlad down. So h3, eventually bishop f4, bishop h2 is an idea. Rook e1, queen d2 are possibilities here in the position. He cannot achieve b5. So I feel like the position is at least not worse. We'll see what Vlad comes up with, and then see how we respond. Okay, so knight back to e8. It's very interesting. I'm assuming he's going knight c7, b5. I could play a5, and then knight c7 is kind of silly. Move bishop d2. So we're trying to figure something out here. If knight to c7, then we go a5. Oh, there you go, knight c7, and we have a5. Now b5 gets met with takes en passant. Do I go b3? I mean, that exchange doesn't look awful, but it does give him this nice passed pawn out here. Bishop to d3, c4. Hey, Jirachi's here. Oh, I am so sorry. I actually forgot to update the score. It's not 0-0 anymore, Jirachi. Vlad won game 1. He really deserved it. Okay, so if we go bishop e2 here, then so bishop e2. Yeah, thanks for popping back into the chat, Jirachi. Thank you, Jirachi. Very sportsmanlike of me to give him a win before I crush him. Yeah, to be fair, I did really have my chances in the other game. I ended up blundering an exchange to a really nice tactic by him, and he really deserved it. And then he correctly sacrificed the exchange back to get a winning pawn ending. So he played really well. This is problematic. This is actually quite problematic. Because my bishop's on d2. Just dumb. Yeah, I'm really regretting the placement of this sucker. Do I go this? No, because it's defended easily. So the question is here, he plays f6. And I go bishop h4. He takes, takes. He takes b2. Actually, this might not be that bad. If I can just play bishop g5. Okay, so we have bishop g5 on the board. I'm assuming not bishop f6. Because I think the exchange makes me happy. And I might even take on e6 then, because capturing back on e6 with the queen is forced. And then I go b3. And who knows what happens next. Okay. Queen to d7. So he's stopping me from playing knight a4. He's also threatening to take. Do I play something nuts like e5? No, because then he just takes. And I have no compensation. Yeah, my computer is lagging a little bit. Knight takes e6. Is certainly a move. He plays it. Okay, so knight takes on e6, knight d5, knight takes g5, knight takes g5, knight takes d5, pawn takes d5, bishop takes b2, bishop, rook b1. Do I play e5? And if pawn captures... No. I go bishop h4. Yeah, I probably have to go bishop h4. So bishop h4. Bishop g3. Knight d4 is a really good square for the knight, though. Because knight d4, knight captures d4, bishop captures d4. And that's very solid. And then I have to be very, very careful about not hanging the c3-b2 complex. Okay, so knight d4. Makes a lot of sense. It's a good move. I'm trying to give him some problems, but this is quite a nice position for him. And I'm already quite low on the clock. So bishop g3. Yeah, my computer is dropping a lot of frames right now. Yeah, we're dropping a lot of frames. Yeah, the live feed is lagging. All right, see you later, Jirachi. Thanks for still stopping by and watching me get outplayed by Vlad. E5 is a stretch. But it's an idea. Like, I could play for e5. But then he takes f3, I take f3, and then he takes with the bishop. And that's a clean pawn. I could go knight d5, but then he also takes f3, and then he takes b2. Okay, let's try to figure out what's going on here. Let's try to figure this out. Could I take here, potentially? The answer is takes back with the bishop. Yeah, I'm not sure what to do. I could just play bishop d3 and rook e1. Okay, so what's the idea here? That looks nuts, because I take it. Knight e2 is probably worth considering, but I don't like that move based on general principle. Okay, so he goes rook e8. He stops e5. Question is, do I take? If takes, if takes, knight d5. And bishop b2, rook b1. He has to go bishop a5. No, he doesn't, actually. If knight d4, bishop d4, knight d5, bishop b2, rook b1, he can take on d5, and I play takes. And I probably go c4, and I don't have anything after he goes like bishop. I'm running low on time, and I'm running low on ideas. What if he takes with the pawn? If he takes with the... Oh, boy. Then he picks up e4. Oh, no. This. I mean, like, I have a5. Or I have a6. But knight d5, rook here. Oh, bishop f3. Maybe this isn't losing. Maybe this is not losing on the spot. So rook e4, bishop f3. Or do I go bishop d3? No, I play bishop f3. Yeah, we're probably lost, but the pawn is a doubled, and the rook has to go back. His bishop still doesn't have that much life, so we might be able to get something out of this position. We could go queen d2, and then play rook e1. Okay, so queen d2, rook e1. Is there... Let's go rook e1 immediately. Okay, I'll go rook e1 immediately. Screw it. Hey, Centric Horse. So you're watching me, Vlad, and Jesse. Well, it's nice that you have your priorities straight, Centric Horse, but I will agree that it is kind of confusing. And I'm sorry for dropping so many frames. Oof. And he takes. Is it possible to trap the rook? Oh, this. He plays d3. Aha. What if I play this first? Queen d2 first. Oh, eccentric course, this was a 2-game 10+5 match. Vlad won game 1, and he is right now winning game 2. We're going to make his life hard, though, because these are double isolated pawns. What? I take the pawn, there's no discoveries here? There are no, I don't think there are any good discoveries here. We've got a pawn back, and we have the e-file for the rook. So we're not dead yet. Not dead yet. Eccentric course, yes, technically Vlad has won the match since he has draw odds, but we are playing this game for just for the sake of finishing the match, and we'll also be getting together on a Zoom call in a bit to analyze the match together so that we can both hopefully learn. But yes, technically he has won the match. And if I get too low on time again, I will forsake the chat. But let's hope we don't get there. Wait, hold up. Do I have this? I have this. Bishop d6. All right, I'm abandoning you in the chat if you're in the chat. And I'm going to try to really focus here because this is an interesting position. Can I take here? I don't think this works. Here's bishop e6. Yeah, bishop e6 saves him the game. But the game's not over. Yes, eccentric course. I know that Vlad has drawn all of his matches, but this one he's probably not drawing. Oh god. I have to trade the queens. Dang it. And now I have to hold another miserable ending with absolutely no time on the clock. Great. And I don't have any checks, which is unfortunate. He has checks, though. He has plenty of checks. Okay, I need to hold on to all these pawns. Okay. Da, da, da. Check. Uh, Here? I don't know. I'm just moving too fast. Uh, wait. Oh, hold up. He shouldn't have moved the rook off the e-file. He shouldn't have moved the rook off of the e-file. We actually, I think this is a draw. But this is going to be hectic with no time. I can't believe he just gave me that. And it's opposite colored bishops too, so even if I have to sacrifice a pawn, a bishop, for the two pawns, I will. I need to move! His practical odds here are still very high, though. Okay, we agreed to the drop. Oh, ha, ha, ha. Man. Wow. Um, that was something. Let me edit the score here. I got a half a point on Vlad. Yay. We got half a point off of Vlad. All right, let me pull up Discord. Ouch. That was something. And Vlad can't stop losing the next pawn with check, so it's drawn. All right, we have Zoom call with Vlad. All right, let's see if we can get this going. Oh, I didn't. Oh, I didn't say that I was streaming on late yesterday. Oops. Oh well. That is okay. Yeah, I can. Yeah, I can hear you, Vlad. Okay, sure. I'm trying to get stuff set up on my end as well.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, your sound level appears good on my dashboard here, so we are good to go. Congratulations on tricking me in this endgame. I totally missed your idea after F3.
Thanks.
You tricked me quite.
Thanks. I knew I was lost, so I was just trying to go for a swindle's chance.
Yeah, I think I was so focused on putting my rook on a light square that I failed to see that after F3, C4, E6. So one thing I have to say is that you actually surprised me in games with your opening. So I wasn't expecting either of the two lines that we played today.
Well,
So
I'm glad to hear that my preparation was at least surprising.
yeah, I mean this Taimanov four knights hybrid. Somebody in my chat was saying it's from a Kamil Plichka course on Chessable. Can you confirm that's where you got the repertoire from?
I've seen the course on Chessable. I actually don't play that. I actually made my own Four Knights repertoire through study and gameplay, so it's my own.
I see. Okay. Yeah, generally I not mind playing against the four knights, but it felt more like a hybrid in Taimanov and four knights. Although you were missing queen c7 and a6. But yeah, that game felt very strategically complicated in the middle game. I actually just ran the computer analysis for the second game here. Wow, this is actually a decent game of chess. Average center pawn loss 22 for you and 5 for me. So not a bad game by chess standard, by engine standards, I should say.
Yeah. Yeah, given the game was closed for a lot, so that gave us fewer opportunities to blunder.
Yep. So did you actually prepare against my Benoni? Did you know I was going to play c5 on the first move? How did your thought process go heading for this match?
Yeah, well, I did a lot of study on your openings, and I knew you always played d4 c5 and went for Benoni, and I had lines where I didn't play c4 prepared, so I just wanted to see how you would react to that.
Yeah, I guess the lines where you don't play c4 are quite good for white, theoretically speaking. But the difference in this line is that my pawn is always on e7, so you don't really have a good target to attack e6 anymore. This is like the trade-off. I don't get my queenside pawn majority, and you don't really have a good target to attack in the center of the board.
Yeah, I was willing to make that trade-off.
I have to say I felt very comfortable once I got e6 in the second game. So once I'm able to break the center with e6, I thought the position was looking promising.
Yeah, I agree with you. It was probably a tactical mistake for me to allow e6, because then it's just you have the play on the e file, and my center just starts crumbling.
Yeah, so of course in the end we were both in time trouble. My conversion wasn't great. Would you like to analyze like a specific moment in either of the games, or would you just like to introduce yourself to my viewers maybe and just say a few words about like when you started playing chess, what your current rating is, stuff like that?
Sure. I didn't have a specific spot I wanted to analyze, so I guess I'll just say hi to your viewers. So, hello, Vlad's viewers, HSB or Adam, anybody. I started playing chess about 5 years ago. I've played online a lot. I'm rated about 2150 on Lead Chess for Rapid and a little bit over 2100 on Blitz, so I'm a fairly decent player. I'm grateful to Vlad for letting me come on for the Zoom call afterwards.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is good for the viewers as well to understand our thinking, like what went behind the scenes. They could watch the games, but they couldn't really listen to our thoughts in real time. So it's nice to talk about the games afterwards and see where each side could have improved.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have the second game pulled up on my screen, and I ran the computer analysis already. So if you want to start with the second game, then this is my preference, I suppose.
Yeah, sure. 1 second. I need to get my analysis scene pulled up for my stream. So.
Absolutely. So people in the chat, can you hear Adam well? Is everything good? Any problems with video or audio? Let me know in the chat. Fix it.
Alrighty, I think I've got everything set up, so I'm good.
Perfect. Okay. So in the second game, you said you were expecting me to play the c5, and you went for a Benoni structure without on c4. I have played this position many times before, and I generally feel okay. I'm not saying that black is like doing too well in this position, but I understand the main plans. So after knight c3 and g6, what was your main development scheme here? Like, what was your plan? How did you want to attack? Because there's really no targets you can attack easily.
Yeah, I wasn't planning on attacking. The study I did was basically I wanted to go e4, bishop b5, check, and then a4. And just slowing down your break of b5, and then I was just going to castle and try to figure out where a good development spot was for my dark squared bishop.
I have to say that the line that you played against me was played by Boris Gelfand against Shahryar Mamedyarov in 2011. So we have some games at the top level of chess that featured this exact line. And generally in Grandmaster practice, there have been lots of draws, but white scores pretty well. So good choice, theoretically speaking, definitely a good choice. But then going to c4 with the bishop, I actually didn't really understand this. I thought you'd go back to e2, then maneuver your knight to c4. Seemed like a more positionally defined approach.
Yeah, that would have been a better approach. I wasn't super familiar with the line and was trying to prepare something especially for you. And this is where my prep just kind of ran out. And I wasn't completely sure where I wanted to put my bishop. So I ended up just putting it on c4, but that probably wasn't the best positional choice.
White still has a good space advantage in the center. I think you're doing well. It's not like a mistake or anything, but I just thought the bishop comes on e, knight belongs c4. So then, yeah, we're basically both out of theory at this point. After bishop c4, rook to b8, I know I want to get b5 in at some point. It's not going to happen anytime soon because you have strong control for b5, but I'm going to plan for it. So it seemed like we're both making normal moves. Knight d8. Bishop to d2, I have to say I thought was a bit inaccurate. Again, for the same reason as before. It's preventing your knight from moving to c4 in the. It's actually you're occupying both squares that the knight from f3 wants to go with bishops.
Yeah.
Bishop on d2 to prevent.
Yeah, the idea behind it was I was a little bit uncomfortable with your bishop coming down, and I just wanted a little bit more defense for c3 should I end up moving the rook for some reason, but I was kind of probably thinking about ghosts at that point. I almost played bishop to g5, which I ended up playing in a couple of moves. So I think that, yeah, it was inaccurate, and I should have just gone bishop to g5 immediately for kind of a plan, at least.
Okay, that actually makes sense. So I thought after knight c7, I played knight c7, right? Bishop d2, knight c7. I think here the only way to prevent the 5 pawn break is by playing the queen on e2. I actually thought you were going to play queen e2, e5 at all.
Yeah, the idea was I was going to play a takes b6 en passant, and I was thinking I might have some play on the open a file against your isolated a pawn, but that never really materialized. and queen e2 would have been quite nice because it would have allowed my rooks to get connected, and I could have swung my kingside rook to the queenside if need be.
Yeah, I think this generally would be a good plan for you. Queen e2 followed by rook f to b1, and then maybe a b4 pawn break. Worked very well for white. But yeah, I think after this move, after a5, I was actually happy to see the move a5. I'm always going to play b5. But of course, you have to take on Basant. There's no other realistic option. So that was forced. And then finally, the bishop went back to e2. So I think now your bishop is on the correct square on e2. But the other one, the dark squared bishop, would belong on e3. It just felt like the bishop. So this thing that you said that you want more protection for the c3 knight, I'm never going to trade my dark squared bishop for your knight on c3 just to double your pawns, because that just seems like a bad trade for black.
Yeah, I wasn't worried about that. I was probably thinking about playing b3 at some point to try to keep things maybe a little bit more under control on the queen side, but it probably wasn't a good plan anyway, and because I was thinking about that, the bishop ends up being misplaced on d2.
Yeah. But that, I mean, here I think that I was starting to like my position after e6, bishop g5, and queen to d7. One of my viewers was asking me, Vlad, why didn't you block the bishop's diagonal with f6, gaining a tempo on the g5 bishop? But then I said something along the lines of, why would I kick the bishop that's not on its best square? But I think I can just move my queen away from danger and keep my bishop open on the long diagonal. I play f6 here. This seems really anti-positional. Yes, I'm winning a tempo, but I'm closing my bishop and my pawn structure is very ugly. So that was my thinking at the very least.
Yeah, I totally agreed, and I knew that you wouldn't play f6 because that just shuts down your strong bishop on g7, and ironically you have to spend another tempo to reactivate it. So f6 doesn't even really gain a tempo, and it breaks up your pawn structure a lot, and I would have been quite happy to see it.
Absolutely. So then you felt like you had to take on e6 because otherwise I'm just going to take, well, I'm going to take once on d5 and put the rook on e8 or something like that.
Yeah, I saw that coming. I saw that, yeah.
An interesting plan for me would have been knight b5, knight d4, but you taking on e6 kind of helped me achieve my dream setup with the knight on d4 next move. But you're still, actually, surprisingly, the computer seems to believe that white is plus 0.6. I don't know. It actually felt very easy to play for black. That was my impression during the game. That was my feeling.
Yeah, I would agree with that because I was thinking basically the same thing during the game, that this is going to be much easier for black to play because black has the superior minor pieces and the control of d4 is very good. Black already has the open b file for the rook if black should need it, and it just feels much easier to play as black.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, the computer seems to believe that after bishop h4 and knight to d4, you can just take on a6. And I was looking at this. I was considering that. Like, okay, you take on a6, I recapture, you take back with the rook. And then I don't really care about the a-pawn. So the a-pawn can go. I was not going to use the a-pawn in my attack. I want to put more pressure on the b file. So I thought this position you'd have a pawn advantage, but I have a lot of pressure after moves like queen to b7. So that was a thought. I was saying on my broadcast, okay, what happens if you take on a6? That's fine. We're just going to exchange bishops, and then I'm going to play on the queen side.
Yeah, because here in this position, I have almost no counterplay because the rook has to go back. I probably would have played rook a2, and then you can just start breaking in the center. You could play d5, you could play rook f to e8, and it's just very difficult to hold the position together because this knight on d4 is really strong, and the open b file is going to be a nuisance for a long time.
Yeah, this doesn't even resemble a Benoni anymore. This looks more like some type of Benko Gambit hybrid. So definitely not looking much like a Benoni anymore, without your pawn on d5 especially.
Yeah, I actually kind of thought about that as I was analyzing the variation during the game. I thought this kind of looked like a Benko structure, and that's kind of one reason why I decided against it, because I hate playing in Benko structures, because I always get destroyed. So
I saw that actually. I have a funny story. I was using opening tree to prepare against your repertoire, and I saw you were struggling against the Benko. Like your score was quite bad in the database, but then I remembered I don't actually know how to play Benko properly. So that's why I didn't play knight f6 followed by c5 and then more game.
yeah, and I've known about that. I have actually kind of just altered my overall repertoire so that I end up just not playing the Benko anymore, because I've just had such a terrible score.
So does that mean you have like some pet line that you line the Benko Gambit with, or does it mean that you don't even enter the mainline Benoni anymore? How do you avoid the Benko? I'm not familiar with how you.
Yeah, so I just play systems basically all the time where I don't play c4, and
Okay.
and usually if I'm not playing you or someone who likes to go Benoni style, I'll just set up Catalan and then play c4 later. So that's kind of the general setup. Against more of a Benoni Benko setup, I just go knight c3, e4, and kind of play more like an anti-Benoni or anti-Benko setup.
Okay, that's cool. That is really cool actually that you're able to avoid the Benko by delaying c4 by omitting c4 altogether. Yeah, I wasn't familiar with that system. And then we are up to move 18 here, so bishop g3, e8. Then you took on d4. This really surprised me. You taking on d4 I thought was more than inaccurate.
Yeah, to be honest, I did not have a plan, and I was expecting you to take it back with the bishop, and then I thought I could chop on a6, but it would have been much nicer for me to maybe even play rook e1. But you playing c takes d4 surprised me, and then I realized I basically had to go knight d5, and then suddenly the position just becomes better for you.
Yeah, because I'm grabbing a few pawns. I'm grabbing at least 2 pawns. This is a forced line. So c takes d4, knight d5, rook e4, bishop f3, rook e8. This is all first. And then rook e1. And the computer seems to believe this is a blunder. But I don't really understand that because rook e1 is not losing on the spot. Why would this be a blunder?
I guess it's that the computer likes knight to b4 so much.
Yeah, I think this is the idea. So knight b4, just targeting a6. Honestly, after knight b4, I was simply going to develop my bishop to b7 and just sacrifice the a pawn. I have to take back with a rook on b7, though. I don't want to blunder my d6 pawn. That one seems useful. Still, it feels like black is getting some more play because of the extra pawns. So rook e1, I wanted to trade. I was like, okay, let's trade. Let's trade a pair of rooks. I don't think I'm getting checkmated. Let's grab another pawn on b2 after all the trades. And here you actually started playing some really tricky moves.
Yeah, I realized that I was in a lot of trouble, so I just started to think of what are some tricks I could play. The initial idea was to try to trap your rook on b2, and that's why I played queen d2, because I'm trying to play bishop to b3.
Okay. You're trying to play bishop b3. Okay.
And then after bishop to b3, you have to play d3. And I win one of my pawns back.
Yes, for some reason when I played d3 myself, it was to open my bishop's diagonal, and I just didn't see that you could take back with the queen, which is really strange because it's such an obvious move, right?
Right.
So I just gave up my best pawn for no reason, and then I realized, oops, what have I done?
Yeah, I bet you were probably thinking you had some sort of discovery move with the rook, but you really don't.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was like, okay, queen d3, let's find a discovery move. I couldn't find a discovery, so I played queen to c7, which actually is very dangerous for me once you find this bishop to d6 move. Very nicely spotted in time trouble. Had 27 seconds here when you play this move.
Yeah, to me, it just made sense because it just kind of fits in with my previous mindset of trying to trap you, and it was just a move that I just played fast.
Right, but then the follow-up after queen c2, I really did not think that bishop takes f7 was good. I mean, I think this is a piece sacrificed that ultimately doesn't work objectively.
Yeah, I was trying to find some sort of forcing line with queen f3, but when I couldn't find anything that I loved right away, I realized that I was suddenly getting very low on time. I think I played bishop takes f7 with 3 seconds on my clock, and it was just realizing that I had to move, and I missed the block with bishop to e6, and then I was like, yeah, no, I'm just losing again.
Yeah, I mean, I felt like I just had to be careful and not to make stupid blunders, but I couldn't avoid stupid blunders. So I'm just going to go through the rest of the game quite fast. So bishop f7, king takes, queen check, bishop blocks, queen check, queen trade. And then, of course, you grab the pawn on a6. I'm trying to attack the f2 point, but you actually have sufficient defense here. I was trying to attack f2 behind. That didn't work. So I just kept shuffling my pieces around. And then, of course, once you play this f3 move after rook 4, I just won. So it's a dead draw. Once we do this stuff, it's just a dead draw. There are no chances for either side. Just a dead draw, so not much to talk about. And then, of course, you finally offered me a draw at the end, and I accepted.
Yeah, because I thought it would just be best etiquette to offer you the draw there because I'm winning the pawn with check, and I just didn't really want to play on as I was very low on time and thought I was certainly capable of bungling this as well.
Fair enough. No, I accepted almost instantly. I was like, okay, it's time to accept. So let's move to the first game now. And after we analyze this game, apparently my services are required in the Bundesliga tonight. Although I'm quite tired after playing games against you. Well, so I suppose we analyze this game and then we just get off the audio call. And I'm probably going to stop streaming myself. I don't feel like streaming Bundesliga tonight. So I don't know what. If you want to continue your stream, I can always raid you. Maybe you can get some more followers out of this if that helps.
Yeah, I don't mind. I have a little bit of time this afternoon. I wasn't entirely sure what I was going to do. I thought about streaming. I thought about raiding Jessie since she was still live, but
Jessie's still going hard in the paint, huh? Still streaming. Still streaming. See.
Yeah, she's still streaming. So.
I mean, of course, if I didn't have my commitment to play the Bundesliga tonight, I would totally be in Jesse's chat after I end my stream. But there are certain duties I have to perform to my team, Trio Fantastico and friends. So let's take a look at the first game that we played here. Oh, wow, I'm just looking at the analysis. I'm surprised, honestly. Apparently, my average centipawn loss was only 15. That is definitely much lower than what I normally score. So maybe I played a good game for once in my life.
Yeah, you played a really good game because when I was doing some research, you really didn't go into the G3 line as much, so I thought I could maybe confuse you with some of my prep.
Is G3 the main move there? I'm not familiar.
Oh no, it is nowhere near the main move. Like, if you could pull up the position after knight f6.
I know the main move is knight db5.
Yes.
I'm aware. I actually know the line quite well in the main line there. But I felt like playing G3 and just going for a quiet positional system.
Yeah, I've faced like a quadrillion different moves here. A lot of strong players have taken on c6, which is another.
The forcing line with takes on c6, e5, knight e5, knight e4, and then queen c7. I have played this. Used to be in my repertoire in classical chess against the four knights, but I don't like it as.
Yeah, or also a lot of people play bishop to e3 against me, which is pretty equal.
Think it's inaccurate.
Yeah, it's not the most accurate because it's almost like you're playing a different variation of the Sicilian. And kind of the plus with playing the four knights is if people just start playing normal Sicilian moves, they get in trouble fairly quickly, and I can take advantage of that.
Oh yeah, no, I actually saw a game. One of my friends played this bishop to e3 line in an OTP tournament recently. I was analyzing with him today. Basically told him he cannot play an English attack setup against the Taimanov, the four knights, or the Khan. It just doesn't work. So I went for this g3 move, which is apparently the third most popular. Oh, also, by the way, what happens if I play knight db5? Do you go for the main line with d6?
Yeah, I've actually analyzed this line really deeply. So if you go knight db5, I go bishop b4, and I just play the main line. And I'm assuming you would play a3.
I would play a3. You would take, yeah. So
yeah,
a3,
you would take. You would take back with the knight. I would go d5. I would take back with the pawn, and you would probably play bishop to d3.
Absolutely, bishop d3. Yeah.
I would castle.
Okay.
You would castle. As well. I would play d4.
Then I go knight d2 in this line.
And then I go. I don't remember my prep. I know I've analyzed this. I think it's bishop to g4 here that I had in my prep, but I'm not entirely sure. I'm pulling that up on the side.
Against bishop g4, I usually react with f3. So this is a game I played against. I want to say. No, it's not MVL. MVL played against the Alatine against me. It was one of the top grandmasters. He played this line against me. Of course, I got destroyed. But we played this much theory up until f3, bishop h5.
Oh, okay. I found my notes. I think I decided to play after knight e2, rook e8.
Okay. Rook. Okay. Knight e2, rook e8. Yeah, that seems normal.
Yeah.
I don't have prep. I don't have prep here actually. I would be out of theory after rook e8. Good to know. Good to know that you're actually going to go for the four knights main line. Yeah, I chose g3 because I thought this was much safer. I liked playing systems with g3. And you went for bishop b4, which I had never seen actually. Like this, I was so surprised by this move. I was like, okay, what's going on? Am I worse? Did I miss this move? So I just played bishop g2. After a pretty long thought.
Yeah, I can actually give you some theory here. Bishop g2 is the absolute best move because the issue is I've had people who have taken on c6 first, and the problem with taking on c6 is after I play b takes on c6 and you go bishop g2, I have bishop a6.
So yeah, you're preventing me from castling. Yeah, I didn't want to take on c6. Positionally speaking, I don't want to give you a pawn majority in the center. So I'm almost never going to take on c6 in this line.
Yeah, bishop to g2 is the overwhelming main move, and it's the best move by a lot for white. So.
Okay, and here I was expecting you to play d5, because I thought this was the main move.
Yeah, it's actually not. I wait a little bit on playing d5. And the engine's top line is
castling. I'm looking at the master's database. I'm looking at the master database, and it appears that d5 is has been played 73 times, and castling has been played only 24 times.
Yeah, I did some analysis.
So I'm not sure which database.
Oh, I was talking about the top computer move. Here was castles.
Okay. Fair enough.
Yeah, so when I was crafting my repertoire, I just built it around castles, and I saw that actually in the Masters database, Black actually scored significantly better when Black castled. So
yeah, you are absolutely correct. Yeah, it scores, castles scores much better.
yeah, and then after castles, a little specialty prep here was I just take on c3.
I love playing this with the white side though. So for me, I was very out of prep up until you play bishop c3. So once you play bishop c3, I think I understand what I'm trying to do. But before then, I was so confused. I didn't know what my plan was.
Yeah.
So once you give your bishop here, I'm like, okay, I need to open up the position and use my two bishops. That's the only way this makes sense.
Yeah, but when I did analysis on this position when I was preparing, I didn't really actually like the alternative moves. So I just decided to go with what I typically play and take on c3 here because I don't love the move d6. It just feels like... And I don't like the move e5, and I wasn't really a huge fan of h6, so I just decided to play takes on c3.
Okay. That's respectable. Queen a5, I thought I have to play bishop to d. I don't really see another move. I thought bishop to d was forced, but I see queen to d3 and bishop b2 have been played before at the master level. But I thought bishop d2 is accurate, keeping my bishop center of the board still.
Yeah, that's actually what I had thought you would play in this line, and I had d5 prepped here, and I remembered...
So you're in theory?
Yeah, I'm still in theory here.
That makes it, I guess, it makes me happier to realize that I actually played a decent game, because you definitely out-prepped me. I was not in theory. I was definitely playing by feel here.
Yeah, and you really played a great game.
I thought c4. I thought pretty long and hard about. Well, not this c4. Sorry, the c4 is when I played it a second time.
Right.
The first c4 I thought was pretty normal. Then c5. And here I thought I had to take on c6. I couldn't see any other. Okay, what happens? I think I'm missing something. What happens if I take on d instead of trading knights on c6? What happens if I take on d5 and take with the knight on d4?
Yeah,
I see.
Yeah, I was analyzing this a lot, and I was actually kind of expecting you to take on d5, and then I realized that if I took on d4, bishop to e3 was really good for you.
I didn't see that. So here I think it took me more than a minute to make my move, and I was telling my chat, I was like, okay, I don't know what to do. I think I should start trading more things in the center and lengthen bishop's diagonals, both my light square bishop and my dark square. So that's why I decided to trade knights.
Yeah.
And then I took...
Yeah, it says the best move here is to take the pawn, and what I would have done is actually taken the knight with the queen. And I'm not sure that's the best move, but it certainly would have given you something to think about.
Okay. So then I took on d5 because I want to get rid of my double pawns. And here I thought you had two options. The safe option was to capture with the knight, which I did. And the more uncompromising move than to take with the pawn. Just like reinforce your central control.
Yeah, what I didn't love about...
Is this still theory?
No, this is not theory. You got me out of theory when you played e takes d5 on move 11.
Okay.
But I didn't have anything more prepped for regardless which line you played, so...
I mean, here I think we're pretty deep. We're like 12, 13, 14 moves in the game. I was happy with my move c4. So 15 c4 I thought was a good try for an advantage.
Yeah, it was, and it basically just turns into a pure calculation game here, and I was correct that I did have to take it. But I missed...
Oh yeah, I was telling my job.
Yeah, I missed that 17 knight b6 was a blunder. And that's when my position really got worse.
The reason I played c4 was to make the game more concrete, like more forced. I thought if you just move the knight anywhere after c4, I'm just much better. So
yeah,
c4
I agreed.
Forces you to take.
Mm-hmm. And then basically, again, the only move to really fight for the advantage is rook c1.
I was calculating for a bit, and I did the same thing. So knight to b6 is a blunder because of the immediate.
Yeah, I missed bishop
Actually,
b4.
what I played is strong. So I thought rook c2. I was kind of critical of myself for not finding rook c2 right away. Huh. Interesting. Computer seems that my move bishop b4 is. Because I was very critical. I was like, wait, did I just miss rook to c2, winning an exchange? What's up with me?
Yeah, I realized too late that I was in trouble. Yeah.
So then you took back on f8 with the rook. And here I was happy with my move queen to a1.
Yeah.
Queen to a1 I thought was a nifty way to exchange queens.
Yeah, because it basically forces me to take, and then do something about the bishop.
Yeah. I mean, you have to break that bishop, I believe, right? I mean, if you go back to c8, you're giving me the entire diagonal.
Yeah, the computer actually really doesn't like taking it here, but I thought that from a practical standpoint, that if I was really trying to defend, I wanted that bishop off the board.
Someone in my chat was critical of the way I was playing the endgame here. They said 24 rook c7 is a bad move, and I should have played 24 rook e2. I mean, I can see the threat, but I don't necessarily agree. I think the rook on c7 is doing.
Yeah, and I'll agree with you on that. I was expecting you to play rook c7, and I thought it was obviously the most critical move that you had.
Yeah, so then you hit a5. I was getting a bit scared here, honestly. I was like, okay, let's hope that I'm not going to allow the pawn to go to a3 or a2. I have to defend it for the rest of the game.
Yeah, this is where I started really getting myself into time trouble, because I was realizing that there was really no way for me to safely push the pawn. And I just started calculating lines of kind of the rook and 3 versus knight and 3 on the king side.
Okay, yeah, so you basically kind of mentally conceded that the a pawn is going to be chopped off the board.
Yeah, because like after the game continuation, rook b7, knight c4, I was expecting just rook a4. And when
I didn't see it.
Yeah, and after knight d6, you can just take on a5.
Oh, back rank tricks. Nice. Yeah, I definitely did not see that. Nice find. Let's show this line. Wow, very nice.
And then I just would have played rook f8, and I would have tried the grovel for the draw here. But this is really not a good position.
I definitely want to exchange. I want to exchange rooks. So my priority, I also understood that your a pawn is not going to survive for much longer. My focus was on trying to exchange rooks. That's what I wanted. So h4 was more like was a waiting move. I didn't know what to do.
Yeah, h4, I thought it was actually really bad because it gave me chances at setting up a sort of fortress on the king side when the rooks got exchanged.
Oh, okay.
Because
I just didn't know what else to play.
Yeah, I just would have played rook a4 and gone into the line that we had shown, because that's absolutely miserable for me because your rooks just apply pressure. I can't do anything and you just push your king and pawns up the board and then find a breakthrough on me.
Okay, but then I thought that your response to my h4 was also not great. I thought h5 was a mistake. After rook b5, it's hard to go on.
Yeah, but my thought process was the a pawn was already lost anyway, so I was trying to get some sort of setup on the king side to stop you from pushing your pawns. And I thought that h5 was a decent move because it stops you from playing g4 and potentially gives my knight the f5 square long term. And when you played rook b5, I just played g6 because I knew that you were going to get the a pawn sooner or later. So I just wanted to get the setup that I had hoped for on the king side.
Okay, so you're just trying to build like this very solid pawn structure on the king side. Then once we exchanged the rooks, I was feeling very happy with my position. It was just a matter of not blundering my rook, basically.
Yeah, but it still would have been harder to break through if I hadn't gone knight f5 immediately.
Yeah, I spent a lot of time here, actually. I spent a lot of time because I wasn't sure. I'm still not sure, actually, if this wins or not.
Yeah, if you had told me that knight f5 would have been met by rook takes f5, I probably would have been able to calculate that I was losing, and I probably would have played something like knight c8 to put the knight on e7 instead.
Yeah, so I don't really have good pawn breaks. That's my problem here. But I think king f4, f3, and g4 would have been my plan. Try and imbalance the pawn structure enough that I can create a passed pawn on the h-file. I think in a classical game we can grind out this endgame for hours on end.
Yeah, I agree.
But in a 10+5 game, of course, it's much easier. It's much easier for the weaker side to make a mistake in this endgame, and the stronger side just needs to apply the pressure consistently.
Yeah, that's actually what I had told my chat. Yeah, I told my chat that this is a very difficult ending to hold, but it could also be tricky to win if I defended correctly.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, after knight f5, it took me a minute. I was like, okay, do I take? Do I not take? I don't want to blunder a win into a draw and then lose the match because of my poor decision making. But then ultimately, I decided my pawn structure was much better. It should be a win.
Yeah, and you were correct because your king position just outmatched me, and I kind of got zugzwanged as I didn't really have any good moves. And I realized that after king f4 that I couldn't play king f6 because after king f6, f3, you just completely dominate me and I have to give ground.
Yeah, that's what I was calculating when I played rook f5. So I was looking at the ceiling like grandmasters do, closing my eyes. I was like, okay, do I take on f5? You take back. I go king f4. What happens next? Am I actually able to activate my king and infiltrate? So that's why I took so much time there. I took more than a minute to calculate that one. Okay, so I think the ending is basically the table-based loss, and I was able to convert it.
Yeah, because I realized after king e5 I have no moves, and if I play f6 you play king e6, and it's just game over.
But still, I mean, it was a great pleasure for me to play these two games on Chess against you. I mean, you definitely were a very tough opponent, and your opening prep was really amazing, I have to say. Outmatched me in terms of opening prep in both games.
Thank you. That's a great compliment from someone who's a much stronger over-the-board player than me.
Thank you so much, AB. I'm so happy that you joined me on the call after the games to analyze, but I think for now I'm going to end the stream. Would you like me to raid you so then you can raid Jesse? Would this be a good idea?
Yeah, sure. You can raid me. I'll say hi to all of your peeps, and then I'll probably send them over to Jesse within a couple minutes.
This sounds like a great plan. All right, man. Well, thanks so much once more, and hope to see you again in the future on Twitch and, of course, in Discord, and we can talk more about chess and not only.
That sounds great, Vlad. Thank you very much.
Have a good one. Bye-bye. Sending the raid over to you now.
Alrighty. Hello to all of the raiders who are coming in from Vlad. Vlad's a great guy. You certainly chose the correct person to watch during this epic match. Shout out to Vlad, even though my chat bot is down. And hello to all of the people who I may be missing in the chat because my computer absolutely sucks. But yeah, so if any of his viewers wanted to play a game against me, I invite any of y'all to challenge HSB on Lichess, and when we blow through all the challenges, I think I'll just go ahead and raid #chess myself, because this stream is approaching 2 hours, and that's a slightly longer stream. Hello, ACJet, and yeah, my stream delay is quite long, as I was lagging a little bit during the match, so if I'm a little bit slow to respond to you, that's probably why. But yeah, if any of you all don't or want to send me a short, maybe probably blitz challenge on Lichess, I'll take it up. If not, then I'll probably work towards send you over to Jesse on #chess. Alrighty, as no challenges are coming in after a little bit, we'll go ahead and raid #chess. And I will hopefully see everyone later. The challenges are coming in after a little bit.